Meantime, of the fine state of Texas, the former governor there, one of the nation's longest governors, we should say, today got some good news, although I'm sure Governor due a little too late. 2 years after being indicted by a county prosecutor, Mr. Perry has been officially cleared of all charges that he abused the powers of his office. This goes back to 2014 when he told the Texas legislature that he would veto funding for the state's public integrity unit unless a top administrator had resigned. I could get into the weeds here. Suffice it to say, the former governor has been exonerated. But again, it might be a little after the fact. What do you make of this, Governor?
Well, fighting for the rule of law is never something that anyone should shy away from, and that's certainly what we did here. I said on the day that I was indicted that I would do it again if I was faced with the same thing, and I reiterated that today as we had the press conference when the highest court on the criminal side threw out all the charges. We knew these were trumped up. We knew it was a prosecution that was politically motivated, and now it's been proven up by the courts that that's exactly right. And Neil, here's what the people of this country, and certainly the people of Texas, they're tired of government using its powers to go after individuals, whether it's a governor or whether it's some private citizen. And I think you're seeing some of that in this presidential election. People are really sick of Washington, D.C., sick of the IRS, or sick of the Justice Department going after people. And so when you see the government using its powers to go after individuals, whether there's someone as high profile as the governor of the second largest state in the nation, or whether it's an average Joe out there who's working hard to pay their taxes, and the IRS comes after them after some, either frivolous reason or because they have given money to a particular cause.
Well, back to your case, though, you had argued all the time that the Texas Constitution gave you the power to veto funding for any reason. A number of liberals and conservatives agreed and thought that there was overreach on the part of the state. Now, I always wondered when you were running for president, Governor, whether this was a cloud over your candidacy, that if it had been cleared then, you think things would be any different now?
Well, certainly when David Axelrod to Dershowitz to Ken Starr on the right all say that this is a bogus hoax of a prosecution, then there's probably something there. And without a doubt, this had an impact. I mean, when you've been indicted, then that's what people are going to want to talk about. Your political opponents are going to talk about that. They're going to whisper campaign.
Yeah.
So it certainly was not helpful. Let's leave it at that.
Now, it's since when you left the race, now you're backing Ted Cruz, a very important primary coming up for Texas's 155 delegates next Tuesday. He's in a battle of his life with Donald Trump, who if he took it from Senator Cruz, do you think that would be it for the senator, that his campaign would be finished?
Well, I think tomorrow's debate is going to be really telling. Listening to Governor Romney and the issue that he just brought up.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I think that Donald Trump's going to have some explaining to do. I think that every question is going to go back to that, and you've got Hillary Clinton on one side who's got a real issue with trustworthiness, and I think if you don't be honest with the American people about this issue about where do you make your money, where did you give your contributions, then the trust issue starts becoming a real issue there as well. So, he's got the opportunity to clear it up tomorrow, and that'll be up to him.
All right. Now, what Governor Romney was suggesting, though, not only working on this year's taxes, but back taxes, at least over a couple of years. I think when Governor Romney first released his, he had released 2009 and 10. Later on, released his 2011 taxes. But the fact that it could be like a spiraling effort, right? No matter what you do, people are going to question everything, right? So why should Donald Trump detail all of that when no matter what happens, people are going to rip it apart?
Well, if you can't stand the heat, you ought not get in the kitchen. It's kind of the old saying about running for the presidency of the United States. They're going to ask you about everything, and if you don't have a legitimate answer, I don't know, or I'm not going to tell you, is not appropriate. Just as Professor Sabato said, the American people have the right to know that.
Do you ever get a sense that this race is Donald Trump's to lose? Whatever we say about this tax issue that just came up, but it would have to take something fairly big to derail it, even though we're only 5% of the vote into it. But momentum is everything. He has these double-digit leads in most of the Super Tuesday state polls, Texas notwithstanding, where it's almost even. But that if he cruises to big victories in those states and gets a majority of the nearly 600 that are up for grabs, does similarly well in the winner-take-all states a couple of weeks later, he's sitting pretty.
Well, certainly, you know, if I were in the race, I would rather be where he is right now than either the second or third place, and you know, fourth and fifth, or not even in the game.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, but the point is, this isn't over with yet.
Okay.
As you know, in the speed of light of which these political campaigns can turn, things can happen in a heartbeat that can change. And 95% of the vote's still out, so still a lot of ball game to play.
Yeah, we journalists get way ahead of ourselves, Governor. I think you're right about that. Thank you, sir, very, very much.
So long.
Governor Rick Perry.